Hey guys, this is Melody Shuman. You're listening to Melody Shuman Breaks It Down. Today is my 5th podcast recording, and we're going to be talking about children that have ADD and ADHD. And just for sake of me not stumbling over all of my letters, we're going to limit me just saying ADD. So when I'm talking about a kid that has ADD, I'm also talking about those that have ADHD. So the interesting thing about children with ADD is when you say my child has ADD, or you tell a teacher or a coach or a martial arts instructor that, you get your parents say that their kid has ADD, the minute you think is stress and anxiety, you think problem child. And I think the opposite. I would say that 20% of kids today have some sort of ADD. Only basically really 3% of them have any kind of clinical issue that needs to be treated by a doctor, but still 20% is not a lot. Basically, out of every 10 kids, only 2 have it. And to me, I think that gives them an edge. I think that what makes you unique also is the edge that you have on life. And for me personally, if somebody comes in to my martial arts studio and says, Johnny has ADD, I'm like, awesome, this kid's going to be a lot of fun. But only if you know how to work with them, and only if you understand them in a different mindset than what you hear and what you read. So hopefully I'm going to change your mindset today, and I really want to break it down in a way that makes sense and get you excited about children who have ADD. So first thing today in this podcast, I want to talk about what they need. So let's talk about the needs of children with ADD. The first thing is that they need structure. So when you think about children who have ADD, obviously you think they have a limited attention span. So structure is basically out of the window. A lot of people quickly abandon that structure because they're so impulsive and because they're so distracted. And you got to remember that structure is what's going to help them be able to flow with the rhythm of society. And right now, neuroplasticity is a real thing. It's proven that you can rewire a person's brain, even up into the elderly ages. So structure will help rewire some of those synapses in children's brains with ADD. So for example, if you're a parent, you should have structure. 5 minutes before they go to school, this is what they need to be doing. When they get home from school for the first 5 minutes, this is what they should be doing. When they get ready for karate class, 5 minutes prior, this is what they should be doing. Before bed, this is what they should be doing. Some kids may need 10 minutes. Some kids may need 15 minutes, and that's okay. The goal is to start to, figure out what time frame they need so that they can mentally prepare for the next activity. The same thing with teachers. You should have some type of structure when they get to class. What should they be doing before class ends? What should they be doing? Or before you go into a specific assignment, specific routines, basically, that will help their brain become rewired and they'll function a lot better. To give you an example, in our martial arts program, we have a structure for every single class that's consistent regardless of who's teaching. So the first thing we do in class is we do a warm-up. So we give them those little electrical spikes in the brain. Then they get a drink of water. They come sit in the middle of the mat. We do a mat chat to explain what the goal of the skill we're working on for that day. They understand that structure, so they start to pay attention, so they know what they're going to learn. Then we go into 2 really awesome game-based learning drills. These are highly effective, high-energy drills that really target their needs, especially kids with ADD. They're skill-based. Some of them have martial arts. Some of them don't, which is really cool. Then they're age-specific, so they're even more appropriate for their stage of development. After we do the 2 game-based learning drills, we go right into their curriculum, which is their skill stripe requirement. So for every skill that they're working on, there's a little test that they review and then they have to take. And if they pass that test, then they earn their skill stripe. And they only have 3 opportunities to earn that skill stripe within the 10-week cycle, so they know that they really want to put forth a lot of effort during that part of the structured class. After we do that, we do some cool down stretching. That gives them a little bit of downtime and enables them to download the information that they just took in from class. And then we always finish with a really awesome, exciting game. So you can see that structure really helps target their needs. So as a parent, you should have structure throughout the day. And as a teacher, you should be putting in the time and effort to have that good structure for children with ADD throughout the day. Now, the next thing they need is they also need a lot of connection. And I like to, break down connection in the 4 parts, the pies, the stage of development. They need physical, intellectual, emotional, and social connection. So as a parent, when you're getting them ready to get structured for the next task at hand, you want to give them a hug and tell them, okay, Johnny, it's time to get ready for school. And then targeting their intellectual needs, breaking down what they need to do to get ready for school. Remember, you got to get your backpack, you got to get your lunch, you got to make sure your hair is brushed, make sure your teeth is brushed. So making sure that they intellectually process the steps that they need to go through for that structure. But you also want to emotionally connect with them. Tell them how you feel about them following the structure and following the rules. So if you're a parent, saying, you make me very proud that you're following through. If you're a teacher, same thing. You make me very proud. I'm happy that you're following the structure. Same thing as a martial arts instructor. Emotionally connecting with them, telling them you're proud, telling them you're happy, giving them that emotional satisfaction. And then, of course, the final thing is the social connection that you need to give them. I'm all about positive labels. So as a parent saying, you're such a wonderful child. If you're a teacher, you're such a wonderful student. If you're a martial arts instructor, you're such a wonderful ninja. So let me break it down for you. So connecting with them, especially when you're giving them structure. Physically, as a parent giving them a hug, teachers giving them a high five, pat on the shoulder, pat on the head, coaches, high five, daps. So physically attaching with them, intellectually explaining the step-by-step for the structure, emotionally telling them how you feel, and then socially telling them how them following through the structure makes them a good person. So that is the connection part. The next thing they need stimulation. So when I'm talking with, and I talk with a lot of mostly martial arts instructors, and they say, I don't want to play games in my martial arts class because I don't want to get them overexcited because they already are hyper. And the last thing I want to do is do a lot of fun, high energy games and make them even more crazy. And it's backwards thinking. It's like telling me, listen, I don't want to give Johnny lunch because then he's going to want to keep eating. It just doesn't make sense. They need stimulation. So at home, parents, they need bike rides. They need to skateboard. They need to swim. They need to be active. They need that energy to give them that stimulation. So you want to make sure that you're targeting those needs. Teachers, the same thing too. Find ways in your classroom where you can give them that stimulation, whether it's listening to music while they're doing certain things, or getting them up and taking a dance break or an exercise break, having them run around the classroom, anything to give them that stimulation that puts electrical spikes into their brain. For example, in our martial arts class, first thing we do is we do the warm-up, and the warm-up gets those electrical spikes going in the brain, gets their heart pumping. Then the other stimulation we have are the game-based learning drills. These drills are high energy. They're super, super fun. The drills that we use, we are really targeting their stage of development. We use game-based learning drills. So we're not just playing silly games with them, just kind of passing the time. These drills each have at least 3 skill-specific takeaways that are going to help them become better versions of themselves. And it gives them that stimulation that they need. And then we always end class with a high-energy game. For children with ADD, we want to give them that last boost of energy before we send them home, because it's going to help satisfy those particular needs, which leads into the next thing, which is they do need downtime. But going back to that stimulation, parents, teachers, coaches, remember, make sure that stimulation has a lot of value to it as well. So as I said, like with our age-specific drills, we have 3 takeaways. And as a matter of fact, really quickly, just a sidebar, if you're a parent or a teacher or a coach and you want some really good stimulating activities for them, shoot me an email. Melody Shuman at skillsconnect.com. Let me spell that out for you really fast. MELODY SHUMAN at Skills Connect, and that's SKILLZCONNECT. Shoot me an email. Tell me how old your kid is, and I'm going to send you a bunch of age-specific activities. Some of them are going to have martial arts in them. Some of them will be more skill-specific, but these are great activities that if you're a parent, you can do at home. If you're a teacher, maybe in the playground or maybe even in the classroom. If you're a coach, you can integrate them into your workouts. If you're a martial arts instructor, you can throw these right into the class. These will give them that stimulation that's appropriate for their stage of development. And then the final thing they need is they do need downtime. So they need to be able to read, write, even just sit out on a hammock and relax. My son, he definitely is hyperactive. He's only 22 months old, so I can't tell you if he has ADD or not. But hey, tell you what toddler doesn't, right? So my son, he needs the stimulation where we'll throw down a really awesome rock concert. And then when he's done with that, we give him a bath. And then we go into something that gives them downtime. My son loves looking on my iPhone and just looking through pictures, especially of himself. He's very vain, but he's gorgeous. So, hey, do you blame him? And it gives him that little time to rest and relax and get ready for bed. So making sure that after you give them that stimulation, put them into some type of productive downtime or constructive downtime. In our class, to give you an example, as I mentioned several times, we do the warm up, then we give them a water break, and that gives them a little bit of downtime. Then we do the mat chat and we explain, what the skill we're going to be doing is for the day. We jump into the high energy game-based learning drills that give them that stimulation. And then we have what's called the smart zone, which is actually the mat, and then a safe zone, which is up against the wall in our martial arts class. And during that time, even if it's only like 1 minute, 2 minutes, we let them sit up against the wall. It gives them a little bit of downtime to process what just happened and relax for a second before we go into the skill-based learning drills. And then after they do that part, we do cool down stretching. And that cool down stretching gives them a little bit of downtime as well. So understanding that balance. So let me just review really quickly what children with ADD need. First thing they need is they need structure. Don't think that because they're impulsive, because they have a lack of attention span, that structure is not possible. The more structure you have throughout the day, if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, the more structure you have throughout your class that's consistent, the better. If you're a martial arts instructor, this is even more important. You want to make sure that you have a structured class planner format that is the same each and every class. Now remember, the structure should be the same. The content within, obviously, you'll systematically rotate. So they need that structure. They need the connection. Remember to connect physically, intellectually, emotionally, and socially. Parents, physically, hugs, teachers, high five, daps, pats on the head, pats on the back, teachers, coaches, martial arts instructors. They do need stimulation, so don't shy away from high energy activities. These particular activities are what helps satisfy their brain, satisfy their needs. So at home, it should be your swimming activities. Again, you can email me for some really cool age-specific game-based learning activities. And then, of course, they do need that downtime as well. So parents, integrate, after you do some stimulating activities, integrate some structured downtime too. As a matter of fact, when you shoot me an email, if you're a parent or a teacher or a coach, if you want some really cool age-specific stretches that will help them during their downtime, you can do that as well. Martial arts instructors, obviously, you can too. So that's what ADD children need. Hopefully the system breaks it down. It gives you an outside perspective. You notice I didn't say that they need medication or they need any kind of discipline or anything like that. Start here, see if that works. You're gonna get success. You just need to make sure that you have a little bit of patience, which is gonna segue into my next podcast. In my next podcast, I'm going to talk to you about what to expect from children with ADD. And then I'm also going to say other things that you need to be doing within those expectations. So this is Melody Shuman, and Melody Shuman Breaks It Down. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Feel free to email me, give me a shout out. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those great things. I hope to hear back from you. And you guys have a wonderful day.